99 hustles. 99 hustles.
Welcome to the 99 Hustles podcast. I'm your host, Nick Carter.
And I'm your co-host, International Fees.
And today we're joined by another exceptional, dope hustler and guest, Ari Hale. Ari, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are y'all?
We're doing great. Ari, thanks for taking the time to get on with us today. Ari runs a six-figure coaching business and has managed multiple campaigns that have generated well over $30 million over the last 5 years. But before we get into the specifics of what Ari does now, we want to kind of start at the beginning of this. So Ari, if you don't mind giving the people a little brief, background story on how you even got into this space and what led you here.
Yeah. I'm in my 7th year of business now. And I started in 2014, I believe, as a virtual assistant. So I was just like booking appointments for people, managing their inboxes, doing some bookkeeping and random shit like that. Things picked up quickly for me as far as client load. And so that eventually transitioned me into project management. I did freelance project management. I worked on marketing campaigns, and that became an easy 6-figure business within, I think, like my 2nd year of doing that. And it was really, I wouldn't say it was chill, but I had like a lot more freedom and stuff, so I was making bank as a project manager. And then I just started hating it and realized that it was when I was traveling throughout Asia with my son that I realized I have this 6-figure business and I can work from anywhere, but my time isn't my own. I'm still on US hours. So waking up at like 1 o'clock in the morning to work and take calls and stuff. And I really wanted to be able to just do what I wanted with my time, work when I wanted to work, and not be tied to, calls or anything. So that was the beginning of the end of that business. And
was this business with like under a parent company, or was this strictly all on your own?
It was just me. Yeah, it was just me. Mm-hmm. So
now, how did you, like, I guess even that is not a normal thing, right? People like don't just start their own consulting company and decide to like, now where did that come from? Is that like passed down from family, or like, where did you get that idea?
Gosh, I feel like my whole journey, I just kind of like fell into things. So I've always just said yes to opportunities and have always been curious and wanted to learn different things. And I just decided that I'm willing to learn and experiment, but if something isn't for me, I'm also willing to let that go. And so through being a VA, I just said yes to different types of projects, clients, and things. And I'd let them know straight up, like, I haven't done this before, but I think I can figure it out. Or, if you buy this program for me, I'll take the program and then I'll implement everything I learned for your business. So a lot of like my start was getting paid to learn and try things because my clients didn't have time to, we all like buy courses and programs and coaching and stuff, but these people didn't have the time to go through that stuff. I did. So I really got to learn and then implement those things that I was learning. And then I got into the project management because as a VA, I worked for this guy who had a digital publishing startup. And I was on that team to like document and create systems and like SOPs. And somehow they figured out that like I was detailed and I knew how to use Asana. So they asked me to help on a marketing campaign, and I knew more than anybody on the team. Wow. And so they shifted me out of like the SOPs and made me like a senior project manager on the spot. And I think at one time I was managing like 6 clients at once for them, like 6 launches. And I just got, again, like on the job experience, doing that. So that's how I got into like the project management and stuff.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned Asana, and, I think that's what I was thinking as you were walking us through your journey. I imagine you picked up so many skill sets and like software knowledge, like Asana and different CRMs. Is that I like that has to be valuable to like your entire arsenal and and toolkit is that early experience and learning different skill sets and softwares.
It is. It definitely is. But the thing I also noticed was that it's hard to explain what I do unless you're in
Yeah.
the industry when I
True.
was doing that work. So like when I shut down the freelance business, the project management, and like I sold my client list and my wait list, I was actually, before I got into coaching, I was looking for jobs because like I don't know what I want to do at all, but I know I need to do something. I just can't sit here all day. And I found that it was really hard to translate those skills into like the 9 to 5 world because there isn't really a name for what I was doing.
Yeah.
And my skill set was a little bit more on the broad side. It was specialized but broad in what I could do. So like I could strategize a marketing campaign, I can put together the project plan, manage the team internationally, all remote, and then build out like the technology and the funnels and email campaigns.
Or do you have a PMP?
No.
With no PMP. Wow.
No PMP.
Wow.
I started to study for the PMP, but first of all, it's hard and boring.
Yeah.
This was after I shut down the business. I wanted to get the PMP for a different reason, but it's also two different styles of project management. Like at least for online marketing, clients aren't going to sit there and go through all these fucking
They're not traditional companies.
Get this shit up and let's go. Let's go.
and for our listeners who may not be aware what PMP is, it stands for Project Management Professionals, right? Project Management Professionals is a form of certification. And that's like a common theme that we talk about on the podcast is you don't necessarily need the certification or degree requirements or any of that to actually do the work.
You just need the skill.
Yeah, and it's like on-job training and experience and being able to understand the nuance of a fast-paced environment is what really, is how you bring value as opposed to just the PMP email signature.
Now, with that, did you find like when you said earlier that you quickly realized that you knew more than anybody else, and that's how they kind of promoted you to like this new position? You're like, did that give you like a early sign that most people just don't know what they're doing and that shouldn't be afraid of like taking on something?
It wasn't that, because I had kind of realized working in corporate that like everybody doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, true.
But what it made me realize was that people are sloppy and very lazy, and I only have to be a little bit better than the people around me to really succeed. And I even tell my clients now, like, all this shit you're putting together doesn't matter. Like, just go back to basics. Do you have good customer service? Can you proactively communicate? If you fuck something up or you're late, can you take responsibility for it, own up to it, and then present a solution for it? It was this very like following up. People don't follow up on anything. They don't provide updates on anything. So, you don't even have to be the best. You can really be decent and make a lot of money and do a good job because the competition out there is just so piss poor at that stuff. Clients are desperate for somebody who's just at least decent and will show up and complete the project.
Just baseline organization. That's spoken like a true consultant is when you're able to see like universal themes in all businesses, and that you could walk in the door for any type of business, regardless of what you guys do, and you're going to be able to implement these basic things and improve their performance significantly just by implementing these basic, fundamental things that a lot of people lack.
It's almost laughable about how easy it is to win because people just don't care to do the basic stuff.
Did you find that these lessons that you learned in corporate, or at least these like strategies, did you find it easy to like implement that into your own personal life, or did you already kind of have that implemented beforehand?
I had that implemented before because my mom's Latin. She's from Brazil, so she's very strict. And then my dad, he is a Marine, and he was the regional vice president for Macy's. And then before that, Robinson's May. Like, I'm old. Robinson's May isn't around anymore. So I grew up in a very like strict, disciplined household, and like a lot of do what you say you're gonna do. We don't do C's or B's. You're capable of getting A's, so go get your A. Things like that. We all played sports. We had to play sports. So I already come from like that strict background of, just getting shit done and doing what you're supposed to be doing, but also knowing that like there's no cookies for doing what you're supposed to be doing or for doing what you said you were going to do, right? Like no pat on the back for that. you're an adult or whatever, you signed up for it, go and do it.
Mm.
But I was able to take that structure and take it into businesses and into client work. And then also I was recently diagnosed with ADHD. I didn't really even know I had it, growing up because of that routine and structure and strictness that I learned from my parents, and that organization I learned from my parents. It's only now as an adult where, I have a kid, we're moving, a lot of things going on where I'm like, oh shit. Now I see how helpful that stuff was, having that structure.
Yeah. So, all right. And now, all right. So now you're into project management. At what point do you make like the transition into coaching and, showing other entrepreneurs how to run their own businesses?
So I was sick of doing the project management stuff, and I finally closed up shop when I was started to make like stupid, silly mistakes on projects and client work. I've been in doing this stuff enough to see like, all right, it's time to close up shop. Like, you don't care about this anymore, and it's showing in your work. If you're gonna go out, go out with some dignity.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So luckily I was smart enough to like save and, get my credit and stuff in order while I was abroad. And so I knew I had a year's time to like figure it out. And then I also, again, I sold my client list and my wait list, to a peer of mine, and they bought that from me. And then while I was looking for jobs, I also decided like, all right, I'm not just going to take any job. I was making a lot of money. I know I'm not going to get that in the job market, but until I find something that's like in between, I'm just going to start building an audience and email list and see where that takes me. And that's when I started getting on Twitter and, building that account there. And then, I started building an email list there. And then because I still didn't know what I wanted to do, I started doing free consults. So free 1-hour consults, just to see what the patterns were, what people were asking for help with, and what I was telling them to do, or what advice or resources I was giving them. People kept coming back for more consults. And so eventually I, started charging. And then from there, they kept selling out. So I was like, all right, let me put together some one-on-one coaching for a higher package. That sold out, I think, for like I think it was like 2 or 3 rounds I did a one-on-one. I think I did 2 rounds of one-on-one, sold out within like 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I'm tired of being on calls for like 40 hours a week, just talking to people, not even doing business shit.
Yeah.
And so then that's where the group coaching stuff came in. And it's been almost a year of just doing group and no consults or one-on-ones or anything.
Gotcha. And all right, so I want to rewind a little bit. I know you mentioned, I think an integral part of your story is how you travel, which I think is like really cool. So you mentioned that you like traveled Southeast Asia early on in your career. And are you still traveling and working?
Kinda. So I was gone for like a year and a half with my son. It was just him and I, traveling, doing our thing. I came back. I was here for a year and I planned on leaving again, but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So COVID happened. I didn't really start going anywhere until like probably this year, I would say. I've been somewhere throughout the US, at least once a month. So it's been nice to be able to like incorporate that back into, my life. I really love to travel, but I haven't been anywhere internationally yet. I still feel like it's a little bit risky and,
So how would you say, what's like the realistic like lifestyle of the travel, like the laptop lifestyle, right? Because that's what everybody's like whole fantasy is like, I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to work from my laptop and sit on the beach while I answer emails. That's like everybody's dream. Like, you speak a little bit about like the reality of that. Like, what does that like really look like?
Okay, so first of all, working on the beach isn't as fun as it sounds because
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Sand gets everywhere. There's glare, so you can't even see your screen, and then you have no power source. It's also probably hot and humid as fuck.
Yeah.
And you're getting bitten by all types of bugs. And then if you want to go swim, you have to make sure your shit doesn't get stolen also. So if you're gonna go to the beach, just go to the beach to have fun and don't take anything you care about losing.
Yeah.
Also, if you're service-based and your clients are on US time, they're going to want to talk to you during US hours. I think there's like a 12 or 13 hour overlap between here and then wherever you're at, depending where you're at on the US. So that's another consideration also. And, you know, it can be lonely, you know, traveling abroad, especially if you have kids. So, because, you know, when I had to always choose between sleeping during the day and catching up on sleep or going out and like meeting people or taking my son to do stuff. So I was always tired because I was like,
Yeah,
well, I'm
yeah,
gonna go
yeah,
out
yeah.
and do
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Um, while I was traveling, Facebook groups were a really great place to just meet people, especially if you're Black. There's like Black expat
Tons
travel
of them.
groups. Chiang Mai, Thailand has a really big Black expat community.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there's this group called I think Black Packers, and the people who are based in Chiang Mai, they were doing like Sunday dinner. So everybody comes Sunday, we meet at a restaurant and everyone just hangs out, talks,
Oh,
whatever
wow.
case, you know, there's
Yeah.
meetups and things like that. Um and yeah, but you know, it can get lonely. And then I realized for myself that like moving from city to city within a few days was not for me. I started
Hmm.
getting like depressed and really stressed out because you arrive, you have to find your place, you know, usually your Airbnb, you have to make sure it's like as described, that the internet actually works. If not, you have to quickly go find another place. And then if you're on deadline with clients or calls, that's really stressful. And then having to like, all right, cool, you get settled. Then a few days later, it's like, okay, pack up everything again and do the same thing over and over. So for me, I switched it up to like, I'm going to stay in this one place for at least 30 days. And you know, one spot, one city, really get to know the neighborhood and everything. And that was better for me than like, you know, trying to knock out everything and do everything at once.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I think as far as like tips and stuff is I took the effort to learn a few words in that country's language. So like hello, goodbye, please, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
And that really like I think people locals were they like to see that I was making the effort to learn about their culture and like to try to speak their language. I just wasn't being this like rude ass American, you know, living into like that stereotype there. And so I found that people were much nicer and welcoming, you know, once I, you know, showed them like I'm trying. I
Yeah, yeah,
respect their
yeah.
culture. I'm trying here.
Yeah. You have it's such a cool story. Like I think you say it so casually, like just traveling Asia as like a mom, but it's so like the nuances of that, like it really takes discipline. Like it takes discipline to like in time management, like effective time management, to knowing how to you know, when you're going to set this call on the other side of the world, like you have a call here and you have a call here. I imagine a lot of that comes down to like also picking your right team. Kind of like when you get into like that Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week thing of like managing like a full team of people and a support, you know, system. Would you say, you know, team management has helped you, you know, like manage your business?
When
Like,
I was traveling abroad, I was still doing like the project management stuff. And something
okay.
smart I did was that I didn't have my own team. I would tell my clients, these are the people we need to have on the team. You need to hire them, whether they're project based or already on your team. So I never had to take the team expense. And a lot of the times, the people we needed were already on their team. So I didn't have to really manage people as far as like making sure they knew what they were doing. It was more so saying, this is what you need to do. Here's our deadlines, and then checking in that way. And then my own stuff for the business at that time was like really, really simple. I think I was like averaging like 90% profit margin because like most of the tools I was using were free. Well, outside of taxes, obviously, but most of the tools I was using were free.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah. You know, and I didn't really have a big tech stack when I was doing, you know, the marketing stuff. I kept it really simple and easy.
And another thing, Ari, I wanted to get into, I was curious about is like just like your experiences with like certain like clients and young entrepreneurs, because we have an audience of entrepreneurs and people, you know, who are looking to start businesses, and that's literally what you do. You help people, you know, build their businesses and their brands. So what would you say as your experiences with clients? Like what's like a common thing that you hear from like aspiring entrepreneurs? Maybe it's like unrealistic expectations or something that they have coming into it. What's like the one most common theme that you see from aspiring entrepreneurs that you help out?
So like in the last year, we've probably worked with about, I think we're just under 200 clients for the group
Wow.
program. And so a lot of times I hear like, how do you overcome imposter syndrome, right? Like that is the biggest thing I hear is
Yes, we get that a
imposter
lot.
syndrome. And so I didn't come up with this. I read it in a book by Denise Duffield Thomas. It was called Chillpreneur. But she basically said, like, who's asking you to be an expert? You know, like when you're with what you sell and what your clients are telling you they need help with, you know, is expert on that list anywhere? No.
Yeah.
And so she says, you know, stop trying to be an expert or think you need to be an expert and just be a contributor. Can you contribute to the
Like that.
conversation, right? Can you share your
That's dope.
experience
That's a bar.
or
That's a bar.
what you think you should do or how you would tackle something? Everybody can do that, you know? And so also like we do like a lot of mindset work in the program also. And it all stems like if you don't want to deal with your shit, don't become an entrepreneur because it's constantly just dealing with your personal shit.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of times I do like I guide my clients through like inner child work because this is where like a lot of your like limiting beliefs, the imposter syndrome and stuff, the perfectionism.
You're a therapist.
No, legally no.
You gotta get over
that.
that.
Therapist. I don't pretend to be one.
Listen,
you know, I have some certifications and stuff. I'm a certified life coach and things, so there are some tools that I'm allowed to use.
Listen,
you know?
most therapists aren't licensed therapists. Like, I used to have hair. My barber was my therapist. Like, that's who I trusted with my information. You know what I'm saying? So like, the idea that you need to be licensed to be a, you know, a quote unquote therapist, that's imposter syndrome all over again. See?
Barber help you pick domain names.
Help me with everything. Help me with everything.
Because I have a life coaching certification, I legally cannot say things like that or give them health advice, anything like that. So I always have to be very careful for myself. But again, like we have tools and stuff that we use. But my point is like between the ages of like 3 to 11, there's things that have happened to us, big or small, traumatic or not very traumatic, where we made that mean something and we created like programming and a story behind those things. So like when clients are saying like, oh, I haven't built my site yet or launched it because it's not good enough, it's really like the little kid in you who's like stepmom was a bitch and told you were never good enough. That's stopping you from, you know, publishing the damn site and, you know, so you can start your marketing and things.
One thing that is important about that is people, a lot of times people don't like mental health is over here and business is over here, right? People don't realize that like, in order for this to succeed, your mind got to be right. You got to get your mind right. So that's definitely important work.
There's a lot of unlearning that we do in the program. And, you know, I'm always telling my clients, your success isn't in crossing everything off of your to-do list and turning all this shit in and doing all this shit. Your success is in taking care of yourself first and making sure that your mental's on point, your physical is on point, all, you know, all of that is on
Star
point.
Player. Yep.
Exactly. And that you're also having fun and enjoying your life, because what's the point of having a business to just be stuck to your business all day? Like we do this so that we can have that lifestyle and financial freedom, but you have to go use that time for the lifestyle stuff, for the financial stuff.
What would you say is the difference between someone that goes through your program who is like really successful versus someone who isn't successful?
I would say that people who've had, so we have like our group of like star students, and they usually see a return on their investment within 1 to 3 months. So they like, they hit, and our main goal is to help people get 10K plus a month. So they hit that 10K plus a month within 1 to 3 months. But these are the people who show up to the coaching calls, they ask questions, they participate in the chat, they turn in their assignments. So we have assignments and we like give you individual critiques on your work.
That's dope. Yeah.
They connect with others in the community outside of like our group and stuff. And then they take action, even if they're scared, even if they feel like an imposter, they just go ahead and do it anyway. And they stay consistent doing that. And eventually something works, something clicks and takes off.
Something sticks,
and, you know, the opportunity presents itself and it goes from there.
Yeah, something sticks. And that's the thing. Like, I always wonder that too. Like, so many people like pay for like courses and like coaches, but they don't really engage with the material. Like, why would you spend the money to join something if you're just going to like let it sit? Like, people treat it like gym memberships. Like, when everybody signs up for the gym in January, then it just like sits. So I also wanted to talk to you, Ari, a little bit about your experience with motherhood also while running your business and traveling. Could you talk a little bit about like the joys and the hardships of running a full-time business on the run while being a mother at the same time?
I'll be real, that shit's hard and it doesn't always feel like a joy. Like more times than not, it feels like I'm stressed the fuck out.
Yeah.
Just to keep it real, like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be a Pinterest mom at all. There's no balance. It's a shit show all the way around and across. Luckily, I'm able to afford a lot of help, and so things that help are like meal prep, having a house cleaner once a week, paying somebody to watch my son while I'm doing things like this. But I also have found that the less I work, the more everything else starts to work, so I can spend more time with my son or do the little things I like to do, like get my nails done, get my hair done, do the things that make me happy. My team now, they've got it. Like, we're a small team, but we're also very automated. So like the things they're doing are really like high leverage, high value things that can't be automated. And like, they've got it, I don't have to micromanage them. They stay on top of their own stuff. They have fun. And, I told them, like, don't bother me Monday and Friday. I'm not here. Go work on weekends. Go live your life. I don't need you stressed out and irritated next week. Go do your thing. And so, I wanted to create a team culture that was, just fun to work at. And like, we can all make money together. We can all have fun. And like, I'll pay you for 40 hours a week, but I'm not gonna I don't want you to work 40 hours a week. I want you to go handle your business here and then go live your life, log off. I don't give a shit.
Team Hale. Yeah. I love that name too. Ari Hale. So like her team name is Team Hale. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's dope.
It's totally a sidebar, but for our YouTube viewers, they'll notice I've been in and out of the screen here all day. We're actually dealing with a hailstorm outside, so I don't know if it's like
there you
go. a double entendre or what's going on. But you have to be a writer or something, because you've dropped at least like 3 lines.
So many bars, yeah.
That are like only like true like writers would say things like that.
You said
so
the more I work, the less work. It was something. It was
the more I work, the more other things work. The more everything
that's
else
hard.
works.
Yeah, that's hard.
I actually hate writing. I'm not a good writer at all. Like, I pay people to write our copy because I can't do it. But
not for work. I mean, like, were you a poet? Were you a artist?
Oh wow.
I'm totally like I'm a tech nerd. It's like anything like funnels, systems, automation. I'm lazy, so if I can figure out a way not to do it, I'm gonna go figure that out.
And how did you I guess my question is still like, how did you learn these things? Like just a simple, like how you just said how you broke down how you manage your team, or how you instill culture. Like, this come from like books you've read, like in particular, any books in particular, or like YouTube videos? Like,
or are you setting like your own blueprint here? You're just like, this is what I would want if I was working.
Pretty much. So I think it's a mix of everything. It's a mix of my experience from corporate, my experience working with clients, watching them have small teams, big teams, building teams with them from zero, to $1 million, and what that looks like, all their mistakes where I felt frustrated. Books. I love books. Like, books are the number one thing I own. Some people like shoes, bags, books are my thing. They're everywhere. So I do read a lot. But I think it's just a mix of everything: YouTube videos, what other people are doing, having friends who are entrepreneurs in different, industries, what they're doing. And then, it's just kind of picking and choosing. But I prioritize what's going to work for me and what's going to be fun. I refuse to let this business stress me out at any point. So if it's stressing me out, it's got to go. We're not going to do it that way anymore or at all.
Yeah, so we reached out to Ari for the interview, and like after we reached out to Ari, I saw like ads for Ari all over all over the internet. I was like, oh, her funnel game is on point. Like her ad game is on point. It was anyway.
Nick was like, oh, hell no. How did that happen? I was like,
the cookies.
No, that's incredible. I mean, you kind of you sound like what every entrepreneur like wants to like have, you know, their lifestyle. Like
correct,
the way you break it down and as simple as you make it, it's kind of like what everyone, you know, dreams of.
Yeah, the travel.
You know what I mean? And so with that, would you at this point say you're happy?
Yeah, I'm probably the happiest I've been. And it's crazy to say this. It's really not about the money. Like we're making the most money the business has ever made, that I've ever made. And it's really like not about the money. It's really about having like that peace and sense of security, but also having my time and my life back, you know, where, you know, my business gets maybe 10 to 15 hours out of me a week on average.
Wow.
Like we're launching or something and I need a couple more hours. You know, very rarely do I ever work like a full week. You know, it's just Tuesday through Thursdays, pretty much 11 to, I don't know, whenever I feel like logging off.
That's amazing.
But, you know, just being it, and like, I don't live an exciting life by any means. I'm very boring. I'm always home. I love being home. I'm hanging out with my kid or playing video games or reading. I don't do like, I'm not a big shopper, anything like that. I'm very, very boring. But, you know, I can be boring. And if I don't want to be boring, you know, I can book a flight that day and go somewhere and take my kid with me. And it's like not a big deal at all.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Is that is that like your biggest like financial flex? Is just being able to be like, oh, I'm going to fly across the country in 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think my biggest financial flex is that there aren't very many things outside of like crazy, crazy expensive things. But like, I would say like maybe up to buying a car, there aren't very many things that I can walk into a store and buy and like have to think if that money's in my account. Right. I pretty much, you know, up to like a car, I would say, walk in anywhere and just buy something and know that I'm cool and okay. And then also, you know, just making sure that like my savings and investment accounts are growing, as well as what I have for my son. You know, that was always something very big for me, just to make sure like he's taken care of no matter what. But even outside of those things, you know, my favorite flex is my team. You know, that like our starting pay for anybody, no matter where they're at, is $25 an hour. And we go up from there. We're working on like incorporating like a benefits package where I pay for everything and do a 401k match. Wow. And then they're just like, it's a safe space for Black women to work and just to have fun and to learn. I coach them. They have other businesses as well. I coach them and help them with those things. And they get to see how I'm growing and running my business and programs. So I think that's my favorite flex, is just like, it's a really cool collaborative place to work. And there's really no stress and craziness and bullshit going on.
Word. My biggest flex is my team.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
Like, I feel like after people hear that, you're going to get like a lot of like, so are y'all hiring? Or like,
I need that 25. Y'all got some more of that 25?
Like, do I got to wear a suit? Like, do I got to dress? Like, what is it, a Zoom call? Like, what are we talking here? Like,
so we're actually going to set up a careers page with a form, because we are getting asked a lot more now. Right now, we're not really hiring for anything, but as soon as we are, like at the beginning of next year, we'll probably be hiring for more positions and stuff.
Okay. So with that, like, where do you see, like, can you see this being what you do for the foreseeable future? Or do you feel like you're going to eventually get, you know, tired of this and want to do something else?
I always get tired of things. Like between 3 to 5 years of doing something, I think year 3 is when I start to be like, all right,
like a true hustler.
Master to this.
True hustler. Yeah.
What's next? And then by year 5, if I'm not out, I'm like, I gotta go. Like I'm done. I'm tired of it. Like I'm sick of this. But with ATH, I'm building it to sell. That's my program. I'm building it to sell and kind of working on removing it from being under me and having it be its own like entity and thing. And so, you know, I think that's what keeps it fun for me, is like, okay, I'm going to build this up, but then now I've never like officially sold a company outside of like a customer list and stuff. Right.
So, yeah, that's a whole new challenge in itself.
Trademarks and intellectual property and like we're copywriting shit, you know, like big girl stuff now. So it's going to be fun to have like all these assets and, you know, maybe sell it one day.
Yeah. And all right, I know you don't have to like mention a name or anything, but could you share with us like a success story from like one of your clients, like one of your favorite stories, like for a client that's going through your program?
Yeah,
Like
I'll share.
who's that big fish client that you're like, when you want to tell somebody like, oh, my program works, like look at that, like this is the one.
Yeah, so we have Renee Bull. Um, she used her last to join the program, and I'm glad she didn't tell me, because we have a rule where like we don't want you to take out a loan, don't use credit card debt. You know, if you can't pay your rent, don't join. Like get your financial shit in order, even if it's getting another client, and then come to us. We're not coming anywhere, and we'll honor whatever the price is at the time you apply. But like, we don't want there to be like, we don't want this program to cause you financial strain and be in that energy of like desperation, you know?
True, smart.
Because, you know, it affects people different ways. And this program also isn't a necessity, you know, at the end of the day, you know? But Renee snuck in, and I think she was making like, I don't know, 2K a month. And then now I think she took about 4 months to hit 10K. And now she's doing about 30K a month, maybe more. Wow. in her program and stuff. And she's built like a small agency. She does Facebook ads. So she has like a small agency. She's hired a team. She's released, I think, 2 digital products, her own like coaching program now. So she's killing it. There is Lindsay Morgan. She's a UI and UX designer. She also sells candles. And so, you know, she said like she's doing 6 figures now, and it doesn't start with a 1. You know, she's past that. Few months for her also. Kiara Nelson, she's a brand designer, was doing like around 5K a month, upwards of like 10K now, working a lot less. I think those are like the top 3.
That's amazing.
That come to mind immediately.
That's it's a lot of Dundee awards right there. It's a lot of successful people getting.
We have a bunch of like testimonials and shit on the page. So, and well, they're screenshots, you know, from whether it's inside the program or just online. Mm-hmm. We don't solicit testimonials unless it's for like the sales page. So if you see something long, we ask them to write something. But all the screenshots, like our clients they do that themselves. And I just grab it and post it up there. But it's not the best design wise, but I like using the screenshot so that if you want to go verify what this person said or talk to them about their experience, their handle's right there. Go look them up, go talk to them, you know. I tell our clients, like, you don't have to reply to anybody who asks you about the program. That's up to you, you know. If you do, just be honest about your experience, good and bad. And I just leave it at that.
Keep it real.
Yeah,
that's fulfilling work. That's really fulfilling work. I mean, just tie back into, just helping entrepreneurs and just a variety, UI, UX designers, and, you know, Facebook marketers. You're changing lives, and it has to be incredibly fulfilling work. Yeah,
it's nice to see that. We mostly have like Black women in the program also, and so just seeing the transformation, even if it's not monetary at first, but just in the mindset, their confidence, their pricing and packaging, where they're not backing down and undercharging, you know, they're actually seeing, because I have them put together like their business expenses, their personal expenses, like you need to pay for health insurance, for taxes, savings, you know, you need to have savings as well, your student loans, car payment, car insurance, all of that stuff. They actually get to see at minimum what they can charge hourly, and when they put packages together, or they're coming out of pocket to help their clients make money. So they're able to stand like so much firmer in their pricing and not negotiate it, because they understand what it's all tied to now. And even just that, seeing that and then like no longer questioning it is like one of the best things ever. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, because like we're all conditioned to think that like, oh, if you just work more and more and more, then that's how you get ahead. And it's like, you've never met someone rich who had like 2-3 jobs. Like that's not how this works. People usually work multiple jobs, usually have no money at the end of the month. Yeah. You know, just because of like the trick, you know, it's the hamster, you know, in the hamster wheel trick, you know, essentially it's like, oh yeah, just keep working real hard and eventually you'll get there. And it's like, nah.
Work smart. I think there's a time and place for hustle, but I think it's there's less and less need for it as technology advances. And I think the internet has helped to level the playing field if you decide that the playing field is more leveled, right? It's really up to you to decide something's available for you or not. You know, there are people who are just like you, you're come from worse, you know, background and how they grew up, who are just killing it and have transformed their lives, but they don't sit there and think of all the reasons why something won't work for them or why they can't do it. They see like, oh, it's possible. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to figure that out. Now I just know that somebody else did it, then I can do it too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the whole reason of this podcast, right? Like reason we created this whole thing is not because we're some sort of experts in hustle, like whatever that even means, but it's more so just being out there and just being open and having conversations with people and showing that there's so many people that out there that look like us, you know, of our demographics, our age, that are doing incredible things that aren't your traditional paths, you know? So hopefully, like, you know, our goal is like with every episode is like, did one person, you know, change their mindset and decide to go for it, right? And whether we're talking to a blogger or talking to a just serial entrepreneur, like there's someone out there that you can connect with, and I know that someone's going to listen to this and going to follow you, like, oh my God, I heard you on this show, and like, how do I get down? Like,
how do I get down? Join that, bro.
Awareness is
Hale
so
squad.
important. Awareness is so important. Like, if you guys want, I can also share like some of our numbers, you know, for the business, like what we're doing, and then what our business looks like as far as like how we're running it and what my schedule looks like and stuff, because I think I'm proof that like you don't have to always work so hard to hit those numbers and have like the lifestyle that you want to have. You know, I'm a single mom. My son's dad is not involved. He doesn't help with anything financially. And like, that can be very, very stressful, but it's one thing that's like, doesn't bother me. Cause I'm like, oh, like when it comes to money, like I know we're good. I'm more stressed about like, can I spend more time with him and be present and like not want to work, you know, like disconnect.
Yeah. And so Twitter, though, is another thing we have to get into. Are you pulling up numbers right now? You said you're going to share your numbers?
I know our numbers already.
Oh, yeah.
We are almost at 450,000 in revenue for the year. We have like one main program, allergic to hourly. I think that comes out to like 46,000 a month that 46,000 a month that we're doing right now. It's a group coaching program. We have I do one call a week. What was that? And
how many hours a week again are you working?
So probably between 10 and 15 hours a week. And so
10 and 15 hours a week and $46,000 a month. But you just let that
so
for a second.
Every Tuesday we have a 30-minute team call where we just use like the scorecard from Traction, just go through our numbers. Anybody need anything? We all good for the week? Cool. Not much really changes in our day-to-day as far as delivery, so that's nice. I do like a call every week with our group for an hour and a half. And then once a day, I jump into our group. So we don't use a Facebook group, we use something else, but it's our community. Answer any questions I have there. I think that's it. Sometimes I critique homework. So I critique the more advanced homework. My coaches, I've taught them how to critique the other homework. We have checklists, what's to my standards, what things need to look like.
Thorough.
I think
so basically you're just making sure everything's running smoothly. You're checking on people. Like,
you know, I don't even have to check, you know, the way that like our processes are set is my team self-checks. So they have checklists, they know my standards, I've trained them, you know, and then I know like, you know, as long as our clients are happy and things are done when they're supposed to be done, cool, you know.
Go live.
Yeah.
And all right, one other last topic we wanted to touch on is your Twitter. I mentioned a little bit earlier, is your Twitter presence. Ari, for our listeners, she's hilarious on Twitter. She has a full Twitter personality, and you kind of use that to help build the Hale brand also, right? Could you talk a little bit about how you utilize Twitter to build your business?
Yeah, I'm just my my insane self on the app.
It's funny.
So I'm not a very creative person when it comes to like design and artsy shit like that. Again, like I'm very techie, very nerdy. And I like Twitter because I don't have to do anything designy. I can just, make a joke or be my sarcastic self and tweet it. Sometimes, talk about business stuff. But once I left the client work and the project management stuff, I was like, I am so tired of just not being myself and like, having to be this, have to do code switching all the time and be this, like, be the representative and not myself. And so I'm tired of working with clients like that. So I'm just going to let people see who I am and say what I want to say.
Take it or leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like I cuss on calls and they're fine with it. Their kids are in the room and they're just like, no, like, I need to hear what you have to say. They'll be okay.
That's just everything you say just sounds like freedom.
Lifestyle design. She designed her life just around, just living, right? Just design your life around just being yourself.
What do I want to do and what feels good? And if it doesn't feel good or I don't want to do it, doesn't happen. And I don't punish myself because like I don't want to do it. It's just like, all right, well, it's really simple. Don't do it.
It's crazy. Like we're, for the most part, the biggest obstacle we ever face is
ourselves.
Is literally ourselves. And you kind of touched on earlier about like that early childhood, going back to that to figure out like where have all of these roadblocks come from that we put up on ourselves. It's like, oh, my mom said this to me when I was 9, so I shut down when this happens. And it's just like all these different things, and you're like, once you realize that it's only you, it's like, oh, this is easy. So it's reaffirming to hear you speak speak about it so casually. Like it almost makes it seem like, why are you making this complicated? Like this is real simple.
It's simple.
Like keep it simple, stupid.
I don't think people value simplicity, and there's power in simplicity. There's power in being able to focus on one thing and giving something 100% of your attention. I tell clients focused is faster, and those other things you want to do aren't going anywhere. People are already doing what you want to do. That idea you have, somebody else has it also. If anything, it's just validation that it works and that there's a market for it. But pick one thing, see it to completion, take 3 months instead of a year, and then move on to the next thing, And, as far as like the inner child work, you also have to have grace and patience with yourself because it's things that have happened to you. And then we adopt, thoughts and programming from our parents, from, school, from society, work. So it's really a lot to like become aware of and to undo. But, just being aware of like, even saying like, you have to work hard. Well, who the fuck said that? Like, is that actually true?
Yeah.
I have to work hard.
The person who wasn't working hard said you have to go work hard.
Like, what? Is that really true for me? Or, so always just being able to question those things that we naturally just don't question, I think is a really good starting point. And just also asking yourself, like, how can I make this easy? Or like, how can I make this fun to do? What can I take away that's not making this fun for me? And then just not doing those things.
And so Ari, you've already given a lot of jewels and game and bars already. However, so one question our listeners know we always ask all of our guests is, what is your hustler mantra? Your hustler mantra can be like a quote or a phrase or something that you live your life by. Like I said, I feel like you've already given a bunch of different quotes and gems. But if you had to just pick one quote or phrase that, embodies how you run your business or live your life, what would that be?
It's like kind of like a two-parter, but I'm a huge Lakers fan. I'm from LA, a huge Kobe fan. Like Kobe's my version of Michael Jordan. And so, something I live by is like Mamba mentality, and average is unacceptable, so like anything I do, I don't want to do like the bare minimum. I want to put my all into it and just exceed expectations. So I don't do a lot, but when I do it, like it's big and it works and people walk away from it with like action steps and transformations and good takeaways, So that's always really something that I live by, is just like average isn't acceptable for me. We don't do anything average. That's not good enough. And, you know, I think it stems from like just that Mamba mentality, like put the fucking work in.
You have it.
You there you have it.
Put the work in.
Any better. Ari, you've been an incredible guest. There's I mean, it's gonna be a fun episode to listen back to and to catch all the gems that
I'm inspired, right?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
inspired.
But before we wrap this up, where can people find you? Like what, you know, your different handles, and what they can where they can reach you.
Yes. So on Twitter, and I'm going to warn you now, if you're sensitive or easily offended, just go to my Instagram, leave me alone on Twitter.
Yeah. And unfollow the podcast. If you're sensitive, unfollow this podcast right now too, because hustlers got to be tough skin.
Right, thick skin. So Twitter, I'm allergic to hourly. It's the number 2. Instagram is allergic to hourly, TO. My site is arihale.com. And then if you want to learn more about my program, it's allergic2hourly.com. And that's mostly where I hang out. I'm mostly on Twitter.
She says she's not creative, but she has allergic to
she's creative. Hell yeah.
I don't write.
Yeah.
I'm not creative. I'm
tweets,
just techie.
a bunch of
like
jokes.
2 things in 7 years.
16 different like rap lines I've definitely heard somewhere. I don't know where she got these ideas. Like, it's crazy.
I grew up listening to a lot of Jay-Z and like Fabulous and stuff. So maybe that's where the bars come from.
There, okay. That's why we're on the same frequency here, because I'm like, that's definitely a hoe bar. I've heard that
right?
before. I was like, something's off here, but
Tupac and
absolutely. And that's a wrap for this week's episode. Thanks for listening to the 99 Hustle podcast. Be sure to visit 99hustle.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our amazing bonus content. Please rate, review, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, always remember there are 99 hustles. All you got to do is choose one.
Choose one. 99 hustles.
Ad lib, Poppy.
That was fun. All right. Thank you
Thank you so much for having me.
Yo, that was so nutty. You probably, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm on my phone right now. Like that's how I'm recording.
Storm just got here too. Like it's like,
it's so stupid. Yeah. Like I hate Pennsylvania, man. It's so whack. I gotta.
You're in PA. Where do you live, Nicholas?
I'm in like the DMV.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, yep, Northern Virginia.
You see how she said okay, cool when she heard DMV, but PA she's like, oh. So where do you live? That is not cool. I'm not going there.
Look, I used to live in New Jersey, and I would go to like Philly all the time.
Like South Jersey or North Jersey?
South Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived in this
Jersey.
tiny ass town.
Oh, South Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like Philly, basically.
I was probably like a 45-hour drive from Philly. I lived like this hick little town called Millstone. It's like 20 minutes from Princeton. Yeah. My neighbors had like tractors and shit.
Oh, wow. What a life.
Yeah.
And where are you located? So it's gotta be somewhere out west.
Yeah. Now I live in Vegas.
Vegas. Okay. Well.
Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is it called? Like Henderson, Vegas, or like Vegas?
I am like 20 minutes north of the strip. So Henderson is south. I'm north.
Okay. Yeah. I go there like twice a year. One for like a work conference. Mm-hmm. And the other, well, I don't do it anymore, but like before you could sports gamble in PA,
yeah,
you would have to go to Vegas. So we would go there for March Madness weekend.
Oh, got you.
So it's Vegas to me is like,
I hate it.
3 nights to get out. Get out. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing good for you there after 3 nights. Like,
yeah,
it's time to leave.
People they come here to do the most, and
way too much. Yeah, I'm people. Like that's me. I do
the most.
I go home and I'm like, who do I think I am? Why did I think like go? I don't even listen to like this kind of music, and I'm in the club like they're like DJ FYZQ whatever. And it's like I don't even like this music, and I spent like way too much money. I don't even drink vodka, but we have bottles of vodka. Like
yeah.
Like, no, I don't want cocaine for breakfast, but thank you.
Yeah, like I'm like,
you guys have fun.
I don't even like cocaine, but here I am, like acting like I'm like El Chapo. You know what I mean? Like, bring it in. Like, bring the whole truck in.
Everything. I'm down for anything.
Yeah, whatever you got, I'll take it. Like I'm like an idiot. So, But
All right, so
no, that was fun.
That was really fun. All right, I just want to give you like the next steps, right? So with the closeout,
Okay.
simply takes us. Plan on releasing the episode next Monday.
Okay.
So you'll get an email from us just with the closeout, the links to where you can find the episode. We also have like a form for recommendations. So if you have any, other hustlers or entrepreneurs that you think would be great fits for our show, we'll have that on the form as well, along with social media graphics as well. We'll share with you the graphics that we'll be posting on our page and everything.
Cool. I'll definitely share stuff. And then I have my weekly emails are automated, but I'll put you guys in for a slot. So
Cool,
it won't go out. It probably won't go out next week, but it'll be in there and go out at some point.
Cool.
And then just as new people join, they'll eventually see it.
Damn, Nick, we made it. We made it to the Hale weekly email blast.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's got to go on a shirt. The Hell yeah 99 hustle.
I know.
blast.
I need to trademark it first.
Hey, Nick.
Like,
go to print for right now.
My lawyer. He can
print that out. We have this recording, so remember, we can edit the audio.
Yeah.
Oh no, man, that was a lot of fun for real. Thank you, appreciate that.
All right, it was dope. Like I said, we'll shoot the email out sometime later on this weekend. Like I said, appreciate you taking the time out. Glad we were able to finally connect and do this. And
yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks for rescheduling. I always get like nervous about these. I'm like, I hope they're cool and fun. It's not like some weird shit.
We have honestly, we have this before every person we talk to, we're not even sitting here doing a whole let's really dig deep into this person and try to figure out everything about them. We're we want the least amount of information we can get because we really want to get to know the person. Have a real because the audience for the most part isn't going to know who we're talking to, right? So it's you can't have an authentic conversation and without it sounding oh wait, this is prepped. You're going to ask generic questions. You're not really listening to what they're saying. You know what I mean? So it's kind of we're no, we're gonna have a conversation, and just see where it goes. So that was cool.
And me and Fees talk like this all day long anyway. We talk business.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole reason why we did this.
Whatever the popping coins are for the day, and we just the podcast is just so natural and effortless. So
yeah, we probably talk way too much to each other, to be honest with you.
Well, you're smart. You turned it into a podcast, so shit.
Exactly.
There you go. Now we got T-shirts, and now we know we're no longer imposters. We're official. We got T-shirts.
You made it.
Especially now we made it on the Hale, the all Hale, the email blast. That's definitely going what do you call it?
Big time.
We're gonna put it on Twitter.
Thank you for having me. I gotta go hang out with my kid. I promise to play video games.
There you go.
Yeah, if you need anything, just email Eli, my assistant, that email you have, and then you can send the stuff there. And if there's anything else you need, don't hesitate to hit us up.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.